27. Thank you for joining. Tuesday evenings at 8:30 is our regular slot. I know we missed last week, and apologies if you tuned in and we weren't here. It was just a little break because of the three excellent guests and busy conversations we'd had in the first three episodes of this season 2. So after a little break, we're back with episode 4, episode 27 total, and I've got some very special guests again for you tonight. Before they join, I'm going to just say a few more things about what we're doing here. So about a year ago, in collaboration with Manchester Folk Festival and the English Folk Expo, where Stornoway played this March 2025, I had a bit of a brainwave and I realized it was time to get all the musicians from the festival together in one dialogue and have conversations about what folk music means to us and what tradition means to us. So if you've been watching since we launched it back in something like January, February this year, we've talked on a regular basis to lots of the different acts who are performing at that festival and who represent loads of different traditional folk genres, not just from England, not just from the UK, but from all over. This week's guests are similar in that vein. They have music that has a very interesting, unique fusion, a twist to it. You'll find out more. But if you like the conversation and you find out a bit more about them, you need to go book your tickets for Manchester Folk Festival, because again, that's where it all started. Manchester Folk Festival is in March 2026, and they've announced some really impressive acts on their lineup, so go check that out. The other two pieces of news I'll let you know about before we start are Stornoway's gig, of course, coming up, the Royal Albert Hall at the end of March. I'm really excited to say that tickets are selling very fast for that, so make sure you've secured yours. And we are planning a truly unique show, nothing like anything we've done before. We're going to bring the outside inside and involve nature in a big way in this show. And the other bit of news is our reissued third album, Bonksy, is now available to pre-order. Thanks to everyone who's already pre-ordered their copy. They should be arriving by Christmas. That's the latest that I've heard. So, yeah, enjoy yours. And they make a very good festive gift, of course. I'm going to invite our guests in now, and I'm really thrilled to be joined this time by an artist, a group who do something that's very close to my heart, as I'm the one in the band most interested in hardcore sport. You'll have seen I do endurance charity events, long hikes and swims and things. That has something in common with what our guests today are doing. They've invented a new activity, and it combines high intensity interval training with folk music in the form of Ceilidh. So please welcome my guests. This is Hench Wenches, Maisie, Sinead and Harriet. Welcome.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you for giving us your time on this Tuesday night. It's great to have you here. We're going live on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook at this time. So I can see we've got a very good crowd already. Loads of folks here. Anyone who's watching and wants to know a bit more about what's going on, just stay tuned. We're going to have a discussion, but also drop your questions in the chat and I'll put them to the Hench Wenches. So maybe, Maisie, starting with you. What is Hench Wenches? Give us the intro.
Well, essentially, it's a HIIT workout. So that involves short bursts of exercise with even shorter rests and a series of different exercises in a row. It can be like squat jumps, burpees, all sorts of different kind of things that, can be quite tricky when you do them all in a row. So we take that concept, which might be done in a gym. Some people do them online, and it has often has a backing track that doesn't really work necessarily with the music. So we've created this concept where we take folk tunes, which have a very clear beat because it's music for dancing, like in Ceilidh's, jigs, reels, polkas, and we've carefully timed each exercise and planned which one goes with each tune. So it's a whole exercise workout with a live band playing to kind of harness the energy that you get from when you're Ceilidh dancing. And even though you're really tired, you just keep going. Everyone always says, wow, I can't believe how tired I got Ceilidh dancing. So the idea is to take that energy that keeps people moving and apply it to a really vigorous sort of half an hour to 45-minute workout.
Yeah, very different to what you might typically see at the folk festivals. But Very exciting. And I'd like to know where this has been toured so far. So you came up with the concept in recent couple of years and been
Not
doing
even.
this just in London, or has it gone further afield?
Yeah, we only started it in about April, May.
End of May was the first one. Was the first one that we did at Fire in the Mountain Festival.
Oh yeah.
Very good. So,
Yeah.
so it's catching like wildfire because, yeah, thanks, Harriet. So it's only been going 6 months now, but you've played one of the UK's most loved festivals and you're on your way to Manchester in March.
Exactly. So
can you
yeah, it
tell
has
us-
taken off.
Yeah. That's really amazing because I would have assumed it had been around a lot longer to get booked for festivals and sort of, you would have maybe incubated it as a something you do locally, but you must be getting some really good publicity and certainly good crowds. So maybe Sinead, you can tell us about what to expect in Manchester if people come along for the set at Manchester Folk Festival in March. Do they need to know what a squat and a burpee and all these things are, or do you teach them?
Absolutely not. No, I think it's definitely tailored for beginners as well. A certain level, I guess, of interest in exercise probably helps. It's a workout for sure. Like people come away from it definitely tired. Can expect a little bit of chaos, definitely high energy with the music, a lot of fun. We've got a merciless megaphone
That's my
wench
role.
over here. It's a little bit of chaos, a lot of fun, and definitely a lot of exercise. But yeah, tailored to beginners, can be all levels.
Excellent. That sounds quite different to anything I've seen at any of the folk festivals. So yeah, we're going to make sure we ask you the same questions in this conversation that I ask all my guests, so that we get an insight sort of under the skin of what's making the hench wench in idea tick and what you want to do with it. And hopefully this will encourage the audience of the Conservation Conversations to make sure they come to your specific event in March. So I'd like to ask you about the conservation of music. So in these conversations, we talk about how to balance the old and the new. And it seems like what your team is doing is taking something very new in this like fusing of two ideas. And hit classes, I guess, are a new thing just in themselves. They probably haven't been around for very long, many years. But you're taking old songs, old tunes that might be maybe some of them are hundreds of years old. These are the things that people can hear in a pub, played on fiddles in the same way that they would have been done maybe as shanty tunes for centuries. But you're plugging something new onto it. So whether you want to answer this one as a group or one answer each, outside of this project that you're doing, I'm looking for your influences and what helped you come up with this. What's a single example each of a balancing of the old and the new? So maybe a recorded performance or a live event that you've seen, or a bit of music that takes the old and brings it, fuses it with the new.
Well, I mean, I think the way I think we're doing that. I think whenever you take, whenever you want the old tunes to survive, they need new places to be, I think. So I think over the course of history, you've had these tunes that have been taught down generations among families and friends, but sometimes the places where those tunes might have existed might not function in the same way, or might not exist in the same way. I think, people used to have parlor concerts and things, and, play in their kitchens, and maybe people don't play music as much in their kitchens, but they play more in pubs and things. So I feel like the tunes always need somewhere to be. So I think it's just a constant cycle that goes where the tunes you don't have to kind of change them a great deal just for them to sort of survive and thrive and evolve in new places. So I think this is just another version of that, kind of giving them a new vehicle. Yeah.
And it's certainly opening up a new audience, right? So, like, Harriet, do you find that there are people there who they've never heard this kind of music before, but they're more used to hearing a megaphone in a hit class, perhaps, but over
Well, firstly, hit classes don't usually have megaphones.
I don't think anybody's used to hearing a megaphone in a hit class. This is our unique little twist on it. It's a really interesting demographic of people that we get coming to our events. We get like the folkies, you know, who are really into the music, who have maybe not been to a HIIT class before, but are a bit curious, and, you know, coming to try something new, maybe want to do some more exercise. And then we get people who are more into the exercise thing, but aren't necessarily as familiar with the concept of the
I think we've just
of the
lost.
familiar with the
We
show.
lost you temporarily there.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I think.
No,
we-
you're
no,
back. You're back.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Sorry about that.
Just rewind 10 seconds or so, just to what you were
What was
saying.
the last to what I was saying?
No megaphones, but like what it's like bringing in newcomers.
Yeah, so we have like people from the folk world who haven't necessarily been to a HIIT class before, but maybe want to start doing more exercise. And so the folk music concept, part of the concept, attracts them to the event. And then we also get people who are more used to doing HIIT classes, but aren't as necessarily familiar with the folk tunes. So it is a really nice kind of crossover of these two worlds coming together.
And I think people often know or think that they should do more exercise, but sometimes people can be reluctant because of the formats where it's done. And I think if you make it more appealing and like it's like addictive, you really want to go to that thing rather than go, oh, I really should go to the gym. I think the idea is to kind of everyone really wants to move, just to create space for it.
We all forget that we want to move until we are sort of brought into it somehow by an inclusive space and people inviting in a really fearless way and saying, right, this is the time to move. Now you need to move. And then our bodies remember what our brains sort of are trying always to make us forget, which is just how fun it is to get moving. So my other question will be around the genres here of the music that you're playing. So Ceilidh is a Celtic tradition, would you say? And so much of the music you're playing is going to be the British Isles or perhaps Northwestern Europe. But are you planning to incorporate other folk styles eventually, say Eastern European, Balkan music, and other upbeat stuff that gets people moving and might be valid in a HIIT class context as the Ceilidh?
We don't have specific plans, but basically it works with anything that's got a really good beat in it. I think that's definitely a possibility. So we're kind of at the moment doing the tunes that people around us, the other musicians that we know would know to sort of join in with and don't have to learn too much new stuff. And the Irish and the Scottish jigs and reels work really well, but it definitely would suit other styles. In fact, years ago with some friends, kind of a precursor to this idea that never kind of made it to the light was something called the polka aerobics, which was basically I did see a video online of more like Eastern European polkas being played to kind of aerobics, but just as a kind of meme, on a 20-second novelty. And I remember thinking, oh, that's fun. That music does really work well for exercise. So there's a lot of scope. Under the Hench Wenches brand, I'm sure we can have sub branches of different flavors.
Yeah, excellent. And next up, Glastonbury, I guess. Well, they don't have it in 26, so maybe a couple of years away.
We've got time. We've got a run up. Glastonbury 2027.
Yeah.
That's the
I think
aim.
there's something with what you were doing there, fusing the old and the new. You've gone further back in history, musical history, for your choice of the old. But just a couple of years ago at one of the Truck Festival sort of installments that we played a secret set because we were technically on hiatus at that time as a band. But we turned up at Truck, played a secret set, and then the thing that hit the news the next morning wasn't our set, even though it was quite special to us, and a lot of people thought it was remarkable that we were there. But there was something called the Classical Music Mosh Pit, and there was this video of about 1,000 people swirling in a wall of death and a mosh pit, and the music above them was not metal. It was something like a Mendelssohn piece. It was some sort of concerto. Anyway, it was very incongruous. Now, I think what you've got here, a Ceilidh and a HIIT class at the same time, has an incongruity to it, right? And there must be a sort of comic element where people they're laughing whilst they do the exercise. Would you say that's fair?
very much so.
But that's part of the healing and the treatment that they're undergoing.
That's what I was doing when I was sort of sitting, at home or in a hotel room while I was away for work, just trying to refine the initial workout sequence. I was laughing. I was putting on folk tunes and jumping around going, this works really well.
Brilliant.
So, yeah, that was kind of, it was quite easy to kind of harness this fun energy once you start putting it all together.
Right. Well, I want to move to our second question now. The idea that conservation isn't only about music styles and music traditional conservation, but even more readily, most people understand it as conservation of ecology and biodiversity. And I know in your case, say some of your events, like the one in a month's time, 15th of November, which people can go and grab tickets for already, that's going to be an indoor one. So there isn't much of a connection with nature in the sense that we usually hear from our guests. Some of the folks we talk to, for instance, they go and gig in caves or on mountaintops and they do performances, or their recordings are in wild places that you'd least expect music to be made in. And that's some of the substance of what we talk about. But in your case, you're in the city already. You're in mostly operating in the heart of London, and you're indoors. So it might be less obvious what this connection to nature is. But I want to kind of rewind a bit and focus on the sort of incubation period of the idea, where you were gigging, you were conducting your classes in the bandstand in Victoria Park, right? And this park is very, very special to so many people as a green space where they can go and escape the screens and escape the concrete jungle and reconnect, breathe some fresh air, see some fellow humans moving, which we've talked around already. So is there anything in your choice of that bandstand and that park particularly, other than it's your closest convenient place? What do you love about that space, and what did you find that the people coming to the classes loved about the space?
I guess it's not our closest space, but it's one of many very beautiful parks in London. It is one of the bigger ones in our immediate vicinity, I guess, and there's so many different elements to it, and it's been so well kept, I guess, over the years. And there's the bandstand is very beautiful. It's like a very well-known like landmark within the park itself, I guess. And we're just like very rightly, as you were saying, like we're very thankful to have those kind of spaces around, and that we're fortunate in London. I mean, I think it is the capital city, but we're very blessed with so many green spaces around us, especially where we are in East London. So yeah, I think we've got a bit of a connection to it as a space. And
it's also, I think it's one of the only places you can go in this area where you suddenly get this unobstructed view. There's the initial bit of the park you get to by the canal if you're coming from sort of central London, and there's a kind of a more manicured kind of well-kept bit with a few more flowers and things. But if you cross over the road bit, then you suddenly end up in this huge field which goes on forever. And I often aim for that bit, because that's where you can get out of the city and you can just feel like you have this space to play with, and just you can sort of like blue sky thinking, you just look at the sky and reach it. And I think so it really lent itself to the workouts. We've just it's a space anyone can use. So
yeah, it's the People's Park, Victoria Park, isn't it? It like the origin story of it was that it was created because the communities in the East End were campaigning for a green space, and so it was created to for the people, to bring nature to the people of the East End of London. So it's got this origin story of being the People's Park. For use of by the people.
And I think I saw a sign there the other day saying, by the playground, saying 180. I think it was the 180th anniversary of that park. So it's quite a long time ago that everyone was kind of going, hang on a minute, we need
green space. It's all right. It's necessary for us.
Yes, I think that probably precedes. Is it Octavia Hill who founded the National Trust and the London Wildlife Trust as well? These two organisations that have done a lot for green spaces and driven largely by the need for well-being and the mental and physical health of the citizens. So what was this, a kind of community-led movement, you say, that didn't actually have an organisation around it? It was just people sort of improvising how to lobby for the space that they needed. Is that right?
I can't remember the details, so I wouldn't want to go on record with any of the details, but from what I remember is that it was very much like a people-led movement.
And there's a pub on the edge of the park called the People's Park Tavern. Does that relate to that, maybe?
Yeah.
And is that part of the Hench Wenches kind of routine after you've done the hit class and everyone's been dancing to the Kaylee, you go to People Park Tavern for pizzas, or
Wow.
is there that social element?
Definitely a social element.
People?
Well, in the summer, it's always been picnics. We've had a really lucky summer, loads of really great weather. So all of the workouts we did during the summer, we just told everyone, bring a picnic and we'll hang out afterwards. So that worked really well. And then actually for
I think we might have lost the audio again, just very briefly there. Whilst I wait for our guests to reconnect, I'll just mention Bruno. Thank you very much, Bruno, for your comments here on Instagram Live. Bruno says, "That's amazing. I wish we had something like this in Köln, in Germany. That's awesome. I'd love for you to have that as well. So maybe we can ask the Hench Wenches to export their idea and create another edition of their event out in Germany." I think we might be having some connection issues here. So, I'm just going to improvise and remind everyone. You can go and see or take part in this Hench Wenches unique operation fusing Kaylee and hit class on the 15th of November. That's going to be an indoor activity in East London. So I know that's not accessible to everybody, which is why I'm then going to remind you can go catch them in Manchester as part of the Folk Festival in March 2026. So grab tickets for that now. We've got you back. Sorry, so you were just saying there before it cut out about the social element and the picnics. Do you want to continue on that? Yeah, it's all right, guys. I think the connection might not be quite strong enough. I think we might have to just continue wrapping up there. So I've mentioned we've got the 15th of November on sale at the moment, and also Manchester Folk Festival on sale, and that's going to be really fun. What I'd love to know, maybe you guys can post about this later, is just how that Manchester event will work. So if you're in a particular space for that, and where people can come and see you, which venue, which day, what time. Let's get that info up, and I'll share it with our crowd. And thank you very much to everybody who's joined today. It's been fascinating, and talking to some different guests about a really unique thing that they're doing here. Next week, we'll be talking to a traditional folk musician, another one who's playing at Manchester Folk Festival. So if you are considering at all going along in March and you haven't got your tickets yet, but you need an extra little nudge, come along to next week's conversation. I think you're going to find it really interesting. And through the next few weeks, we're going to be talking to trad folk musicians who have collaborated with the band over the years. So thank you for joining us, and see you next time. Last thing I'll say is a shout out to the Manchester Folk Festival and English Folk Expo, who are partnering with us on this podcast series, and also to the Folk Albums Award. So there is now an official Folk Albums Award, Folk Album of the Year Award, and that's coordinated by Manchester Folk Festival, English Folk Expo, Sound Roots, who are the kind of umbrella organization to those, and then also Folk on Foot. You must check out Folk on Foot. It's one of the most pioneering, brilliant organizations operating in UK folk at the moment. They have been coordinating the Folk Album of the Year Award, and if you know anybody who wants to get that award and be eligible, they need to submit their album for consideration. So just go look up Folk on Foot and Sound Roots, and they can submit for that award. Thank you, everybody, for your time this Tuesday night. I'll see you next Tuesday, 8:30 p.m. UK time. And if you missed any part of this or the previous ones, go check out the recorded archive of conversations. It's on our social media. In the near future, it'll be moved to be exclusively accessible to members of the Stornoway fan club. So if you haven't joined the fan club yet, you're definitely going to want to do that. They're the ones who hear about releases first and get access to tickets first as well. So make sure you join the fan club, and see you later. Have a lovely rest of your week.